man, you can't type animals. Don't tell me what I can't do. Okay, for the record, I don't believe that animals have the same kinds of cognitive functions that humans have, in a sense that you can use them to type animals. But as a fairly new pet owner, well, pet owner through marriage, I gotta talk about my pet's type at least once. You know, just for the fun of it. You know, I mean that's why I got into MBTI in the first place, just for the fun of it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about that ISTP cat right there. Hey, I got over 1,000 subscribers now, so I can do what I want, right? And you know, just by the very nature of this topic, I will be saying a lot of stupid things in this video. So, you know, if you want to like seriously argue against the points I make and like tell me I'm wrong, well, the joke's gonna be on you, because like, I'm not taking this topic seriously, so I don't want you taking this topic seriously. You're just gonna sound stupid yourself. So let's just get that out of the way. I would say, most of the cats that I've met in my life, I would have guessed typed as ISFP, maybe occasionally ESFP. You know, I mean, that's, you know, not that I've really spent that much time around cats in general, but this is the first cat that I've ever actually owned, or really been around for an extended period of time. So, I've had a chance to like really observe, you know, how he behaves, you know, how he responds to his surroundings. So, you know, just from that, it's just been kind of fun for me to theorize, you know, what cognitive functions he might be using. I mean, they all seem to use extroverted sensing in some way. I mean, they're like really aware of their environment. You know, just watch a cat just maneuvering around the room and, you know, intentionally avoiding objects and sometimes intentionally hitting objects, and just noticing whenever there's a new thing within their sensory perception, they just go straight to it. You know, stereotypical curious cat. And as for what they do with that information, you know, what their judging process is, well, to me, with most cats, it looks like they're using introverted feeling. It's like, you know, is this a good thing or a bad thing? You know, that's really, I mean, I guess it's not really fair for me to judge introverted feeling in general, you know, even among humans, because, you know, it's my very last function, so I can't really claim to really understand it. Basically, introverted feeling is all about value judgments, personal feelings. You know, is this a good thing to me or a bad thing? Is it right or wrong? And so that's really what you know, it looks like most cats are doing when they observe things. This guy, on the other hand, I think he uses introverted thinking. I've noticed he seems to like process things, figure things out. Like, I think he's figured out how doorknobs work. And, you know, the only reason he doesn't open doors is just because his paws can't physically work the doorknob. I bet if I had like lever type of door handles, I bet he would have figured out how to open our doors by now. You know, he already knows how to pull a door open if it's unlatched. He knows whether to push or pull a door. Certainly pushing a door is easier, but if he has to pull on a door, well, he knows that he can stick his claws, you know, as deep as he can possibly go and just like reach around and grab the door and open it just enough for him to get through. And it seems like anytime he's observing like a new object in the room, he'll go up and, you know, he'll sniff it and then try to figure out if there's anything useful he can do with it. Like a typical cat, you know, if he sees a bag or a box, he'll crawl into it. But, you know, if he realizes he can't crawl into the bag, either, you know, because it's too small or the opening is not big enough for him, he'll like take his paws and like scratch on it, pat on it, and basically figure out if it's something he wants to sit on. And then in most cases, that's exactly what it'll do. And he seems to know how to associate specific sensory details with like objective facts. Like he hears the sound of the garage door opening, and neither me nor my wife are home. Well, he knows that that sound means that we're coming home. And so he'll run down. He knows exactly which door we're gonna come out of. He runs down to that door and waits until we come in. Now, if one of us is already home, well, it's not as big a deal to him, because he's already got a human in the house to take care of his needs, so he doesn't care if another one shows up. He seems to know exactly where each of us are at all times, so it's like he'll remember if he saw one of us go into the bedroom, he'll go in and scratch on this door because he knows either one or both of us are in there. So there's a strategy to what he does. Go up and scratch the door if he hears certain noises that would indicate that the person who's in there is likely to come out in a few minutes. Like, the sound of the shower turning off or somebody getting dressed. And I actually see him using that sort of that analytical process more than I see him observing stuff. So I just may declare that introverted thinking is his dominant function. Extroverted sensing is his secondary function. So, that would make him an ISTP. I had a harder time figuring out his Enneagram type. I had more trouble figuring out people's Enneagram types in general. You can't really know people's motivations, what's going on in their heads, much less what's going on in the cat's head. But, like I said, it's still fun to guess. I don't think he's a type 9. He's definitely not conflict avoidant. He'll easily start conflicts with me. He's not shy about voicing when he wants something, even if he knows he's not going to get it. A lot of times he'll try to get away with stuff. He knows he's not allowed on the dining room table, and sometimes he'll jump up there just to get a reaction from me. I wouldn't say he's a type 8 either. If he wanted to assert his control all the time, he could do it. I've known cats who are mean just because that's the way they are. They have this "I'm gonna get you before you get me" kind of attitude. I considered at one point that he might have been a type 7, because he does seem to have this kind of like fear of missing out kind of thing. I was thinking at first that was like why he was like desperately trying to get behind closed doors and go in places where he's not allowed to go, because he just really wanted to see what was there and experience like all that he could. But he only does that occasionally, and most of the time he's like that, just kind of like content to be where he is, almost like a type 9 but not quite. I think I've settled on type 5 for him, just kind of going back to that analytical mind of wanting to understand as much as he can, just so that he'll feel safe and so that he'll be content where he is. So that's basically what he does. Whenever he encounters something new, he wants to study it, learn as much as he can about it, and then once he's satisfied that it's either not relevant to him or that it's something safe, then he'll just kind of be content just sitting there doing nothing. Plus, most of the time he prefers not to be around a lot of loud noises, like noises outside or just people talking. You probably noticed by now that he's walked away from me several times throughout this video. So, kind of typical type 5, just wanted to be alone, to be in their own thoughts. Well, that's about all I'm interested in exploring in this topic. So, no subtypes, no Enneagram wings or tri-types or anything. I've analyzed his personality about as much as I've wanted to. So, that's that. Aren't you glad I'm done? Mr. Echo. He does it more when my wife is in there, more so than me. Yeah. So there, there is. So there's a strategy to what he does. You can't just go off of behaviors, and you can't really know people's motivations, what's going on in their heads.